welcome to this Premier training video which takes a look at VAT invoices. Once a business has registered for VAT and you start selling to other VAT registered customers, you must supply a valid VAT invoice within 30 days of a sale. However, this rule doesn't apply to general retail sales to consumers. A business can assume that the end customer doesn't actually require a VAT invoice at all, unless that customer asks for one, in which case a request for a valid VAT invoice cannot be refused. To be valid, a VAT invoice must show certain pieces of information, as required by HMRC. If an invoice isn't valid, then you won't be able to reclaim the VAT you have paid. Firstly, and most obviously, the seller's name and address must be shown on the invoice. All invoices must have a sequential numbering system. These should be issued in order. If you make a mistake on an invoice, you must still keep it, even if you don't send it to a customer. When a business first registers for VAT, they will be given a unique VAT registration number, and this needs to be shown on all VAT invoices. There must be a date. If the tax point itself is different, then both dates must be shown. The customer's name and address must also be present. The customer will need this as evidence that he or she is entitled to reclaim the VAT. There must be a suitable description of the goods or services provided. For instance, it isn't acceptable to simply put goods. There must be a quantity. If it's an invoice for goods, then you would include the number of items sold. If it's a service, it may well show the number of hours it has taken to provide that service. You must also show the unit price of each item before VAT. However, you don't have to show how much VAT is paid on each item. You must show the rate of VAT that has been applied for each item on the invoice. If there's a discount, you must show the rate of the discount given. Then we show the total amount excluding VAT. Finally, you must show the amount of VAT that you've charged as a separate item. There's no actual requirement to show the total amount including VAT, although you would be hard-pressed to find an invoice without that on it. This completes the requirements for all the items you need to include on a general VAT invoice. There are a few instances where exceptions can be made. For instance, if you issue an invoice for under £250, you can issue a less detailed invoice. Or, if you're a retailer, you could issue a modified invoice that shows VAT inclusive amounts. Details of these types of VAT invoice will be dealt with elsewhere in your course. I hope you found this video informative, and thanks for watching.